Let's start with a title that sounds accusatory on purpose. Why you hate Hideo Kojima. Not because we're here to litigate the man's career, or pretend that Metal Gear didn't permanently alter the trajectory of video game design, but because hate is often the emotional residue of misunderstanding. And nowhere is that misunderstanding more visible than in how players talk about stealth mechanics. Because if you listen carefully, really listen to complaints about stealth mechanics, what people are often saying isn't, I hate stealth. What they're saying is, I hate being told how to play. And that distinction matters. Because Kojima, whether you love him or find him unbearably indulgent, understands something foundational. Stealth only works when it feels like a choice you arrived at, not a behavior you were coerced into. And that idea, choice versus coercion, is where this whole essay actually lives. Stealth is often treated as a genre. We talk about stealth games the same way we talk about shooters or RPGs, as if stealth is a discrete mechanical category. Stealth isn't a genre. It's a relationship between the player and the game's system. Stealth emerges when the cost of being seen outweighs the cost of being patient. When visibility becomes a liability. When information is incomplete and aggression carries risk. In other words, stealth is what happens when a game respects uncertainty.
What's that? Oh. What have I...
This is why so many stealth sections feel bad. Because they aren't about uncertainty, they're about obedience. They're not about asking you to read the system, they're asking you to submit to it. Do not be seen. Do not alert enemies. Insert failure if detected. This isn't stealth. It's a behavioral compliance test. Now, I know that all of you, every single one of you that has had to engage with stealth mechanics, has felt the pressure and pain of a bad stealth section. Whether that be escort missions that lead you on for 7 minutes chasing some little freaking girl down the road, or some forced crouch walking mechanic where you're behind a low cover, swearing across the boundary at the other person, or maybe it's just something like stealth mechanics in a game that we all know and love, Star Citizen.
Do you want more, Zippo?
Oh.
We can do it again if you want. Oh. Holy crap.
Where stealth is a mechanic for success, but not an indulgent experience that you can lose yourself in. You see, what Kojima understands, and what many designers miss, is that stealth only feels good when failure is survivable. In Metal Gear Solid, being spotted isn't the end of the game. It changes the game. Suddenly the tone shifts, the music escalates, the guards reposition, the environment reacts to your mistakes instead of punishing you for them. That's crucial. Because the moment stealth failure equals a reload screen, stealth stops being strategic and starts being performative. You're no longer engaging with the system, you're rehearsing it. Kojima lets you fail loudly, and then asks, what now? And because the world continues, stealth becomes expressive. You weren't stealthy because the game demanded it, you were stealthy because it felt smart. Now, let's talk about Rainworld. Because this is where things get interesting. Rainworld never tells you that you're playing stealthily. It never explains cones of vision, enemy alert states. It doesn't even care if you understand what stealth is. And yet you spend the entire game being sneaky. Why? Well, because Rainworld doesn't design stealth as a mechanic. It designs it as an ecology. Let me explain. Predators don't exist to be defeated. They exist to behave. They hunt, they patrol, they get distracted, they make mistakes. Sometimes they ignore you entirely. Stealth emerges not from the rules, but from observation. You learn to wait. You learn to read motion. You learn that noise matters, that positioning matters, and that panic is fatal. But there being this much lizard on lizard violence. Uh-oh. Get out of my way, I need the tube. No! No! Fuck off! No! 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 And crucially, the game never congratulates you for being stealthy. It simply asks you to survive. Now, we can talk about learning through failure here, specifically when it comes to modern tutorialized design. What I mean by that is you play the latest $60 game off the shelf from your local EB Games or Steam or wherever you've got it. You get to that one section where it says, let's investigate stealth mechanics. And it throws a bar up on the side, the light that slowly flashes or an eye that slowly opens, re-Oblivion or Skyrim. And it lets you know that maybe you're being seen and now you have been seen and now there is a fight. But really there's no consequence, and the tutorialized design of it leaves you feeling like you've mastered a system that never really was intended to be mastered and was simply put there like a pot roast on the dinner table, when really all you want is those delicious potatoes. That's the indifference between modern tutorialized stealth mechanics and something like Rainworld, where the contrast is so stark and so vast. In Rainworld, you see an animal, and before the game gives you any indicators, and to be clear, it doesn't give you any indicators, you are panicked and projecting. Has it seen me? Does it know I'm here? I can see it. I know it's here. I'm moving towards it. I'm moving away from it. It's moving towards me. It's moving away from me. It's that consistent decision making that's one-to-one with real life that makes its mechanics feel deeper than stealth. That make its mechanics feel as though you are prey or potentially predator, which is ultimately what stealth boils down to. Are you prey or are you the predator? And finding the truth of that statement. Now, a lot of players describe Rainworld as hostile. Hostility implies intent. I don't think Rainworld is hostile. It's indifferent. And indifference is terrifying. because when a game doesn't care about you, your survival feels earned. Stealth stops being a playstyle. It becomes an instinct. And Rainworld is a game that's about instinct. You are a slug cat. This is why Rainworld succeeds where many stealth systems fail. It never asks you to pretend to be careful. It makes carelessness unsustainable. That's not punishment. That's not coherence. That's evolution. Now contrast that forced stealth section that we spoke about before. The ones that appear in games that otherwise have nothing to do with stealth. You know the one, suddenly the game locks you in a crouch, a detection meter fills, a guard walks in predictable loops, failure resets the puzzle. These sections don't test your intelligence, they test your patience. They ask you to perform cleverness without actually being clever. It's like a Christopher Nolan film. And this is where resentment creeps in. Like a Christopher Nolan film. Because the players don't hate stealth. They hate being made to feel stupid by systems that pretend to be smart. Now, we can talk for hours about cinema. You know that I'm a pretentious loser, but this is an exact representation of what I'm talking about when I discuss things like those real insidious, uncomfortable films that take advantage of you as a viewer and try to put you in a position where you feel clever, but you're being told that you're stupid. And there are lots of games that will do this as well. They'll remove combat as an option instead of allowing you to engage in combat with a sense of failure. They'll remove the ability to sprint and force you to walk instead of giving you the option to move and make the mistake, that tangible player choice. Or they'll take away tools or give tools that are specific to stealth sections and nowhere else. Kojima gets away with indulgence because his systems are generous. He gives you tools you don't need, mechanics you'll never touch, options that exist purely for gameplay expression. Stealth becomes one voice in a larger conversation, not the conversation itself. And that's it. It is a conversation between the game designers and the game players. You crawl if you want to. You sprint if you panic. You improvise when things go wrong. And you're starting to see the connection between good stealth, i.e. Kojima and Rainworld, and bad stealth, i.e. Last of Us or the later Splinter Cell games. Because the game adapts to your decisions. Your decisions feel authored, even when they're messy. Now, this is where Star Citizen actually becomes a little bit relevant. Not as a stealth game, but as a systems-driven space game, where your behavior emerges from friction. Now, what do I mean by that? There are moments in Star Citizen where stealth happens accidentally, where sound, light, distance, line of sight matter, not because the game says so, but because other players do. It goes further than that. Stealth in Star Citizen can become a more in-depth system in which you use it to drop lock from an opponent before missiles connect, to get the jump on someone who's waiting outside of a hangar, executive hangar, to make sure that your ship is the last thing that people are paying attention to when the 15th Idris jumps in and that big fat whale makes his presence known. But these moments feel electric, and not because they're polished. And let's be very clear. Star Citizen is not polished. It's because it's unscripted. Now, I want to talk a little bit about why I'm making this video. I spent the last few weeks, let's say 4, really engaging with the stealth mechanics in a couple of different video games. The most pivotal being Star Citizen. I decided to engage only with stealth ships out of necessity because I was being missile spammed by a bunch of... And what that led to was me truly understanding where stealth is a mechanic, a specific mechanic within a game that is not a stealth game, can be done right and can be done wrong. And that pushed me. It hard shoved me back towards games that I had wanted to engage with for a long time to better understand these stealth mechanics. Metal Gear Solid. I played through Snake Eater, at least the first half of it, and started to see the true genius of someone like Kojima. That took me to a Splinter Cell game, and all of a sudden it all fell apart again for me. So I went back to Rainworld because there was something about that latest expansion of the game, the Watcher expansion, that felt more genuine and closer to the things that Kojima does than anything else that I've interacted with in the past 15 years. It's that consistent, authored, messy, tangible interaction with the video game where you're allowed to express yourself and where your failures mattered, but they don't matter as much as your successes. And that's the important part, is that you're able to engage with a game that allows you to play with these stealth mechanics. But they don't force them on you. They give them simply as another tool to explore the environment, explore the mechanics, explore the engagements in a way that other games don't. So if there's a thesis here, and there is, it's this. You don't hate stealth. You hate stealth that doesn't trust you. You hate stealth that demands obedience instead of curiosity. You hate stealth that mistakes restriction for depth. You hate stealth that collapses under failure. You hate North Korean stealth. And you actually love Kojima, even when he annoys you, because he understands that stealth is a conversation and not a command. This isn't just about stealth, it's about design philosophy. It's about whether games treat players as problem solvers or as actors hitting marks. Because the best games don't ask, did you do it right? They ask, what did you do when it went wrong? And stealth, at its best, lives entirely in that question. Hey guys, this is literally me after 7 hours straight of editing and putting this video together, not to mention the work that we did on the script beforehand. It's something new. I don't know if you guys are going to dig it. If you want me to do more of it, please let me know. I'm more than happy to do some more of this sort of stuff, but it does make me pull my hair out, as you can see. So I don't want to put the effort in unless you guys actually enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments down below. Come check out the Twitch if you're new here and you've never seen the channel before. We do lots of in-depth conversations, and check out the merch as well. I'll make sure that's down below as well. All right, awesome. I'm going to wrap this up because it was exhausting. Come see me on Twitch, and I'll see you when I see you. Appreciate you, cuties. See you!